What's happening, people? Good evening. Hope you're well. Welcome back to the channel. Got some lads on tonight to talk all things football. If you didn't check it out last night, make sure you do. It got very heated towards the end of the show, man. Joe Wyman come on and just decided to take violence on a few people. No, I'm joking. He decided to come on and just completely disagree and debate on people, and it was quite funny. So make sure you go check that one out last night. I did feel sorry for Billy at one stage because he just literally had nothing left, bless him. But make sure you go check that one out if you haven't seen it already.
Nice for his own good, is Billy.
Billy's too nice, man. I love Billy.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
nice. Sometimes you got to give it back
Joe's
to Joe
nice though as well. I think Joe's
Listen,
nice.
Joe is really nice, but when you come for Gareth Southgate, wow, Joe turns into a absolute
For real?
you know what I mean? Yeah,
Hold
man.
on, so he got mad
What
back
is the
in Gareth
championship doing
Southgate.
bullying the Premier League? And it's ridiculous. You know,
Well, it's quite
it's
funny. It's quite funny because I think I said something along the lines of, I know it's not 2002 and this is the Race for Europe show, but here's a Leeds fan.
I saw that bit.
He was like proper backing Gareth Southgate. He really loves him, man. Yeah, man. And Joe's a great guy. Joe is a great guy. And, you know, fair play. Listen, big up to the chat. Big up, Lisa. Hope you're well, darling. And big up to Steve as well. Listen, lads, let's talk. Let's get your opinions because last night we talked a little bit about Gareth Southgate. I don't want to make this about Gareth Southgate again. England obviously won, and I want to touch on a couple of players from last night's point of view. But Errol, let's start with you, man, because it was funny. Joe last night said to Billy, are you a Scouser or something? What's going on? You're not into Southgate. What's happening? What's going on? You're not into England. I thought I'd start with you, man. Talk to me about England and Gareth Southgate from your point of view, bro.
Bro, there's no love loss, is there? I'm one of them. England at the best of times don't get me excited because I know they're gonna do England. Do you know what I mean? And again, like for the young crop of players that they've got, I feel like the last probably since Southgate's had this crop of players, I would probably say it's probably been the most likable bunch of lads. If you can really say that, I haven't really felt too kind of a certain way against any one of the players that play for them. You know, you can have a little banter at Maguire, but you can understand in the tournaments that he's taken Maguire on, Maguire's served a purpose and performed to a good standard, given what's around them and stuff like that. So it's hard to really get really emotive and feel a certain way about this England side because player-wise, I don't dislike any of them. I think the good young lads that have got high ceilings across the board. Stylistically, I think, you know, you can always look back at the fact that, you know, he doesn't pick Trent, he doesn't want to play Trent. I just don't think he knows what he would do with Trent because the rest of the England team don't play how the Liverpool setup is. Asking Trent to do what he does for Liverpool for England is null and void. It's not going to actually work. It's not going to give you the fruits that Liverpool get to dine out on most weeks. So for that reason, I'm not even mad at him because I don't want Trent getting injured on international duty. I need him fit and firing. He has been for the last 2 years our most creative force in this Liverpool side. So he's too much of an asset for me to want to lose going out over with England or whatever. I think he's probably, you know, you talk about processes and certain managers a lot of the time nowadays, and you know that's kind of domestic, but I think he's probably at the end of what he can achieve. Really, he's taken us as far as he can probably go. He's an early guy, and he's done it with a lot of dignity. I'll give him that. Do you know what I mean? I think he's brought a lot of respect back to the whole England camp and base. And for that reason, I don't get emotional over it, and I'm not a big hater of what he's tried to do. I just think he's not going to be the guy. If England want to win shit, I don't know if England want to win shit. Are they happy to just be part of the party? I don't really do that whole tribalistic wave of St. George's flag business. I'm a Scouser first and foremost, bro. And if Jamaica got to a major tournament, I'm going to be 100. I'd be back in Jamaica the entire way. So, you know, that's where my allegiance lies at the end of the day. And as far as I'm concerned, if England do get to do it and get over the line at some point, it's great for the mentality of the young players that will be a part of that journey. It's great for their CVs. And it's great to believe that we can go on to do bigger and better things. But does it really bother? Do I sleep any difference if England lose or win? Absolutely not, bro.
Fair play, man. Listen, D, I'll come to you because I know I don't have you for long. Gareth Southgate, a lot of positives in my opinion, but also a lot of negatives. And I think most of the positives are off the pitch. I think he's been really good with the media. I think he's come across really well and respectful. I think a lot of people like Gareth Southgate, the man. I just don't know that everyone rates Gareth Southgate, the manager. And I've got to be honest with you, D, I don't think he helps himself when he's selecting players such as Jordan Henderson over in Saudi Arabia and, of course, Harry Maguire. I think he's left a lot of players out by not really any meaning. I haven't really seen our best goalkeeper in goal. I'm not sure I've seen one of our best fullbacks hit fullback. I've definitely not seen our best centre-half pairing because of Harry Maguire. I don't
Who's
think
our
our
best goalkeeper?
trio has always been there. I think Aaron Ramsdale was better than Jordan Pickford, if
He
I'm
played
honest.
last night, didn't he?
Or
Ramsdale?
Pope.
Yeah. He played last night. But he never gets number one, does he? So I think for me, and the trio as well, this Foden, I don't really think he's an attacking midfielder. He's more of a winger. Ask Pep, all these crazy comments. I'm like, hang on a minute, like this is a bit bizarre for me now. So where do you stand with this one, D?
So let's start off with the positive. First of all, I watch and follow Turkey more than England. That's what I do. So I'm gonna speak on a neutral perspective. Let's start off with the positive because yes, Potts, you spoke about what he does off the pitch in terms of the media, but I think he has a huge impact in terms of his man management, even on the pitch. Because in his England squad right now, which it wasn't really the case before, there's a unity. I feel like regardless of what club you play for, every player wants to play for England for themselves, whereas before you would have troubles about whether there will be a difference because you play for Chelsea versus Liverpool versus Man United. But now you don't really have that. In the England squad. So I think you have to give credit to his man management skills for that, because I think he's actually the camp's morale anyways, and in the past few years has been solid. So I give him credit for that. But apart from that, let's be honest, it's the players that's been carrying Gareth Southgate rather than Gareth Southgate, because his tactics very questionable, team selection questionable. England should have won a major trophy by now with this squad. I feel like at times you see it with, people saying, oh, but we still progress. It's not just about progressing. Yes, Gareth Southgate has progressed, but I don't think people understand the amount of quality that this England squad has. It's not only the starting 11, it's the whole squad overall. You got the likes of Jude Bellingham, Harry Kane, Saka. We're talking about elite level players, and you have players and depth in certain positions that other countries just simply don't have. And despite that, yes, England's gone to finals of the Euro, semi-finals of the World Cup, but there's been so many question marks. Even the path to the Euros final, it was an easier path. And then when it came down to it, when you actually had to face a team that you have to beat, it failed once again. It's not just about failing. It's about Gareth Southgate being negative. He's always negative in his approach. He doesn't have faith in his England players. So for me, I understand why he's still in the job, because there has been progression there. But if you take away your England glasses for a second, if you just look at the players that you have, the type of football that you play, and team selection as well, he contradicts himself as well. He talks about picking players based on merit, but Harry Maguire is still there starting. It seems like he wants to prove a point. He doesn't make sense at times on the pitch as well. His team selection, questionable. Tactics, questionable. And I'll be honest, yes, you have to give a bit of credit to the manager for England progressing as they did, but I don't think it's his tactics. It's just the players. It's just the players that England have that have actually brought them that far. And the positive that he has had is that everyone's morale in the England camp has been solid so far, and you have to give credit to the manager for that. But apart from that, Gareth Southgate, I won't say he's a fraud, but he's nowhere near the level that England manager should be. If he had another manager, then England would have won and should have won a major trophy by now. As simple as that.
Daps, let me come to you, bro, because I would say if Pep Guardiola has this England team in the last 3 tournaments, we're lifting something at the end of it. So where do you stand on this one? Because for me, a lot of people talk about Gareth Southgate in positive lights, and I understand that he's done a lot of good things. But if he was to get sacked, which Premier League team would hire him?
There we go. Look,
West Ham.
Palace.
I know Lawless would love him. Lawless would love him at West Ham. That's a match made in heaven, isn't it?
do you know what, right? So there's an old school side of me that I'm not going to be young and trendy and say, oh, nah, F England. I don't care about England. I'm English, innit? I was born in England, yeah. I would get behind England, right? But I can't get behind this. I can't. It drains me. International break is draining. Seeing Henderson in the pockets for England is draining. Seeing Harry Maguire start is draining. Then a manager coming out and making no sense with what he says. And by the way, this is not the tournament. If this was, because I know he likes going with the people he can rely on. Okay, no problem, big man. If this is the Euros, do that, right? But this is not the Euros. This is the time where, and I presume we don't want to be going into the Euros, yeah, with Henderson still playing in the pockets. I presume by next summer, that is not the plan. So if that isn't the plan, address it now before we get there. You don't want to be addressing it there. Address it now, right? It's just confusing. Then he comes out with the statements about, Pep doesn't play Foden in a midfield role, does he? So there must be a reason. Right. So my first thing on that is that's worrying. Is that how you're going? You're picking your team based on how other managers pick theirs. That's worrying, right? Secondly, okay, no problem. Well, I ain't really seen Henderson running the channels or playing in pockets under Klopp too tough for a while, right? He's so again, it's just everything he says is, and here's the worst thing that, like I said, I would get behind England, but I can't get behind this, and it's sucking like that game on last night was better, to be fair, but the game at the weekend. I once was speaking to a Tottenham fan and they said, listen, I want trophies so badly. I want to win something so badly. Yeah. But I'm not willing to see crap football to win trophies. And this is the thing. The one thing that like people will say in Southgate's defense is he's got us to finals, right? But I want to be excited watching. To get me and to get this nation back in England again, we need to see something that excites us. Like a trophy, all right. That summer, we'll probably be out in the pub and we'll scrape through the group stages as usual, playing crap football. Then we'll get excited for maybe 1 or 2 games because they happen to be on the weekend. And it happens to be in the summer, and we happen to be able to have a drink and watch them. We're not getting excited because we're thinking this football's exciting us. It never has. It never has. But the truth is, he'll probably. I mean, will he go after the Euros? He said he will, but I don't know what the answer is because in our lifetime, what managers have excited us for England? What managers have excited us?
Thing, I saw it last night with the lads.
Terry Venables in 1990 when I was a little kid. That excited me. That
96
like
Euro 96 for me.
Euro 96. Hold on.
Yeah.
Actually, Bobby Robson. Sorry.
Was that because you was young
Yeah,
though,
maybe.
and it was like very impressionable?
You know what, the Euros.
You got nothing to really compare it to at that point in you.
Sorry, it was Venables in 96. 96
was 96 in England as well. That was the year I thought we were going to do it. I was like beating Holland 4-1. I remember sharing them. I was like, this is it. Gaza against Scotland. I'm like, this is it. The famous celebration. And then that didn't happen. And then obviously, Dave's going to take us back now, swinging the old lantern, bless him. But I think personally for me, I mean, that was what I saw. And then I saw a little bit of Sven-Goran Eriksson with the golden generation of 11. Everyone says we had a golden generation squad. No. We had an 11 players and we had a couple of subs. That was it. Yeah. I actually think this England squad now is very strong. Very, very strong. Very
strong.
Yeah.
Look at the players we're talking about. We're talking about Bellingham. Right now, everyone in the world is raving on about Jude Bellingham. Not only that, Harry Kane, Saka, you got Rice, you just got a huge amount of talent. Just crazy amount of talent. And there's depth. There's depth there. Maybe in previous England squad, you had to start in 11, but you didn't have the depth. But there is that squad. You do have that squad in this England. Like, there's no... And I agree with Dats there as well in terms of how he wants to see England play. Yes, look, you'd want England to win trophies because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. And if you do win it, then, then that's great. But then again, this squad has all the talent to play exciting football as well as go for trophies. Right now, he's so negative with it. You're not even seeing the full potential. And the longer it goes on, somebody plays. I know England's still got a very young squad. I mean, Phil Foden's still young, this Saka's still young. So there's still a bit of time. But the longer it goes on, you're just wasting this huge potential. So look, he might win the Euros. It might all be great there, but so far it's been a failure. Looking from the outside, anyways.
Just two things on what you said there as well. He might have done better with that 11, I feel like Southgate's the type of person he overthinks. There's too much going on in that England squad. There's too many players. He's fearful of who he has to drop and who he can't get into the team. And if he would have had just 11 players that he could rely on and hang his hat on, he'd probably feel more comfortable just fielding the same. He's got an abundance of talent at the moment, and that's probably where he's getting a little bit lost. And the second thing I wanted to say was big up man like Nando in the chat as well. Sorry for your loss, bro.
Yeah, man, I was literally, you stole my thunder there, Earl. I was just literally going to bring up Nando, regular listener, big up, much appreciate the love. And thanks so much for supporting the channel. Really terribly sorry for your loss, man. Really sorry for your loss. And make sure you reach out to the people that are there for you and supporting you, man. And if you need anything, of course, give us a shout, man. And big up and thanks for supporting and always watching, man. Big up.
I think one of the things as well is right. So sorry, just if we look at Arsenal, this has been a conversation that we've had all summer, really, that without injuries, who's Arsenal's best midfield? And I think most people will say Partey, Rice, Odegaard, right? And it's very similar with England, that you look at it and it's like, we just want to see Rice, Bellingham and Foden play together.
Yes.
Right? We just want to see it. Just once. Scotland friendly, no problem. Right? We're not just... We see that lineup, we will probably watch the game. We'll be like, right, at last.
And even Daps, if he puts Foden wide because he's not playing in the centre, then put Maddison in the centre and let's see him do what he's doing. Do you know what I'm saying? But we're not seeing that. We're seeing Phillips or we're seeing Henderson. Like, what's going on?
And this is a thing against. Sorry to any Scottish watching this, but the one thing that was very apparent yesterday was how poor Scotland are. Right?
Agreed.
In TalkSport, TalkSport in the morning were trying to go, we've got this. We're there. We've got some real stars coming through. And then they said Tierney, McTominay, and then I can't remember who it was, but in fact, it was Martin O'Neill. And Martin O'Neill was like, come on, that isn't Graham Souness, Kenny Dalglish. This is not. And it's true. That Scotland team, we don't need Rice and Phillips against that Scotland team. And my final point, the one thing that, Dan, if I was you watching that game, right? Again, we'll ignore the one against Ukraine because that was a qualifier. I get it. We have to qualify, right? But that was a friendly last night. Saka has played, 80 games on the bounce or something like that for you, mate?
87.
Right, okay. 87 games on the bounce. He played against Ukraine on Saturday, right? Why bring him on as a substitute? You've got Eddie. There's multiple other players you can bring on. Why do that? Like, what do you need to learn about Saka? There is nothing he needs to learn about Saka, Kane, Rashford. We've seen it. We know it works, yeah? Why bring him on? It's just like, if I was an Arsenal fan, and I'm not bothered, by the way, listen, run him into the ground is all I care. But if I'm an Arsenal fan, I'm thinking, again, why are you doing that? Like,
of course, and I've done this all the time. And then what's frustrating, Daps, is the only time he does take him off is when we need him against France. In the last 16, whoever it was, when he's the best player of the pitch. And what happened? Oh, we lost the game. Funnily enough.
And I want to bring quickly before I go. Errol made a point about if he had the older generation where you just had the starting 11 and the squad depth wasn't as good, he'll be better. Southgate was actually asked about this. I think it was on TalkSport again, where I heard him respond to it, and he said it's not a headache. I like the fact that there's more players available. So he's saying, yeah, exactly, Errol. So it's surprising, but he actually wants a squad selection. He doesn't. I was surprised as well when I heard it, because normally you would hear man just say, "Oh, it's a headache." You still got a few players to deal with. But Southgate's the opposite from what he's saying, anyways. He said that it's not a headache. I want these players available, and if they're good enough, then they'll play. So look, what that says is, don't worry to anyone. Available. Don't worry to anyone. You're getting in my squad. Don't worry, Harry Maguire. You're not playing. Whoever plays well, you're definitely not getting ahead of Maguire. Sorry, if you're Ruben Diaz, Saliba, you ain't getting in. It's Harry Maguire all day long. It's Jordan Henderson all day long. So you can be the next best thing at centre-back and go, I ain't going to get in this England side because he loves Harry Maguire. Aaron Ramsdale will be thinking, how many more seasons do I have to have better than Pickford before I get in? And I know Richo, bless him, big up in the chat, always regular listener, says he thinks Pickford's better than Ramsdale. That's fine, but that's not the point. For me, the fairness needs to be there. How many times has Trent Alexander actually got an England starting position, whether it's in midfield or right back? Hardly ever. This is poor, man. So, listen, before I bring the super chat and Dave's points in, Dee, I know you've got to go in a minute. I wanted to ask you, because obviously Mark Guehi and Eze are in the England side. Yeah, and to be fair, bro, they're two
Guehi and Guehi.
Yeah.
Hey, Guehi. I mean, he said Guehi was worth 70 million. I wouldn't say he's worth 70 million, but Guehi, these last two games, I think Guehi's played really, really well. And actually, I'm going to stick a word in for Lewis Dunk last night because I thought he had a really good game.
Very good. Yeah.
So I looked at Dunk and Guehi,
very underrated,
and then I thought to myself, why is he bringing this wardrobe on? Right, because that's what Maguire is. I looked at it.
It's like my wardrobe. Honestly, what it looks like my wardrobe. Look at it. It's old. It's finished. Like, what would you say?
Harry Maguire's right behind you.
It gets annoying when you talk about Maguire because it's the same thing over and over again. And at times, I think what Southgate said yesterday, he has a point. Like, we We talk about Maguire a lot, but then again, it's you're selecting him and you keep doing the same things. It's like you're aggravating people to talk about Maguire when you have other options. Why do you keep doing the same thing? You're not helping Maguire, so don't act like, oh, it's everyone else's fault, but not your fault. It's your fault because you're selecting these players not based on how they're playing. Because if that was the case, then Maguire should
get him out the firing line.
And he needs to be now, because it's actually getting quite cruel now on Maguire. It's actually gone too far now for me.
Yeah.
It's like, just leave it now.
When he came on last night, all of Hampden, well, all the Scottish part of Hampden, which was the vast majority, they were in ecstasy. Great.
Same Arsenal did the same when he came on at the Emirates. The Arsenal fans started chanting his name, and it's like, but that's the thing. Like, if we go back, I never agreed with the whole, making Saka, was it Saka and Rashford, and was it Saka, Rashford, Sancho?
Saka, Rashford, and Sancho penalties.
Yeah.
At their age, like it's just
crazy.
Yeah, it doesn't make. I don't know what with Harry Maguire. I hear what you're saying. I mean, it's hard for me to feel sorry for the guy, but the guy can't catch a break. Like.
No, he can't.
He can't catch a break.
I don't feel sorry for him. That's because he's poor. I feel sorry for him because of how people are now going way over the top for him. Like, this is a human being at the end of the day, not a scumbag. Do you know what I'm saying? So we're actually looking at a player who's a professional footballer, and people are going like way over the top. And with Gareth Southgate's got to hold that, because he's putting him in the firing line every single time. And yet again, last night scores an own goal. Yeah, okay, might be a bit unlucky, but he's gonna get. He scores an own goal.
It's not helping. It's not helping the situation, Southgate.
Bro,
he's
just a walking L at this point. He literally is.
I feel bad for him. Honestly, I feel bad for him at this point. Like,
I do. I feel bad for him now. I just think take him out the firing line, like Ten Hag's tried to do. Gareth Southgate's got to follow suit. D, listen, I know you got to shoot, bruv, because you got your preview. I'm gonna let you go. But thanks so much for jumping on for the half hour, man. I really appreciate it, bruv.
Thank you. Great seeing you all. Hope you catch up
again. Hate to see you
soon, man.
Take care.
Chat soon, D. In a bit, bruv. Dave, let me send you this one your way, man. This is a super chat that's coming from Dinesh, who says, evening, I remember the 1990s to Bobby Robson team. It was good. Golden generation were good instead of building the team around the midfield instead of Owen and Rooney. Now, Dave, you go back farther than us. I know you don't look it, but you do go back farther than us. Talk to me about your thoughts of this England setup, because Joe made a really good point last night on the show, to be fair to him. And he said, look, I don't remember watching England with excitement. It's been a while for me. The Roy Hodgson days, the Capello days, and he named all the managers, right? And I kind of got with that. And I thought that you could get behind what Southgate has done. But actually, is it Southgate or is it the squad? Where do you stand with this one, mate?
Well, I'm conflicted, Dan, to be honest, because the context for me is that when Gareth Southgate took this team over, it was at the worst point in its history. 2-1 to Iceland in 2016 with Roy Hodgson literally resigning within 10 minutes of the final whistle. And that was our laughingstock. That was humiliation. At that particular point in time, if anybody had said to me, you'll go to a semi-final in 2018, you'll go to a final in 2021 and a quarter-final against the world champions where you're the better team in 2022, I'd have said, don't be silly. That is beyond the realms of Alice in Wonderland. That is not happening. Now, with Gareth, right, what the context is, and there have been good England managers in the past, Terry Venables in 1996. To me, the 4-1 win over Holland is England's greatest ever performance, without a shadow of a doubt.
Over the Germany one, over the 5-1 Germany?
Yeah, the 5-1, but the one at Wembley, I just felt that Germany team wasn't quite at the levels. They had Karsten Janker up front, for goodness sake. But the Dutch team at Wembley that night in 1996, that is the first time that England played like a Brazil or a Holland or a Germany or an Italy of the past, right? So, there have been good managers. But my view is that, well, the inescapable fact, it's not my view, it's an inescapable fact, is that Gareth Southgate, whether you like it or not, is the second best England manager of all time. And there's only Alf Ramsey better, because only Alf has been to a final and only Alf has won one. And some of the people that we've had in the past, and Joe's point about Fabio Capello, that was a golden generation, but no team has been hated more than that one. When they walked off the field in South Africa, everybody wanted to kind of hammer them. They were good players in a club scenario, but stick them together at an international level with Capello, who didn't like them and they didn't like him. That was a hell show, right? And then Sam Allardyce. I mean, what that is like? You've been framed. That's like Beatles about. That's ridiculous. A guy with no class, a dinosaur, a historic remnant, a ruin of a bygone age, right? An age that I know, right? And I care about England, but I'm an anachronism now because people don't care about England anymore. Everybody now, it seems to me, I know it's a younger generation thing or whatever, it seems to me that, we've got a week off from real football. I wanted to hammer the Ukraine. I wanted to ruin their incredible party, and fair play to the people of the Ukraine and that team, what they were going through. I think England were always kind of on a loser going there, given what the broader situation was about, right? And like last night, I really enjoyed hammering the Scots because they're our local rival. And again, more context on last night is that they won 6 on the bounce. So they're the nearest to qualifying of anybody across Europe. I mean, I don't think it will continue because they go to Spain in the next game and they'll get a bit of a whooping there. But England were a level above them and played some great football, right? So, you know, and these lads want to play for Gareth Southgate. There are any noises ever coming out of this camp. You know, you don't get a Jadon Sancho Ten Hag moment with this team. These lads love him and want to play for him, right? And he's not going anywhere until 2024. And I think he will definitely go where if England do well, say win it, he'll go. If England are like, you know, underachievers again, he'll go. So he's not going anywhere. My issue with him is I love him as a person, as a human being, as a representative of me as an Englishman, sending a view of my country across the world. He's dignified, he's eloquent, he's intelligent, he's thoughtful. I think a lot of people, the vast majority of this country, from a social level, I don't think they get him because they expect effing and blinding, crass people, right? And I like him. He appeals to me as a human being. If he was on this show with you, Dan, Daps, Errol, myself, and he came on, we'd love him. He's charm personified. He's a nice guy. He's just a great representative. But I have a but. God, I wish he wasn't so conservative. You know, conservative with a small c. I just wish. I look at him sometimes and I think, I mean, I'm a really conventional looking guy, but inside my head, culturally, I'm an anarchic, right? And I look at Gareth and I think to myself sometimes, you know what, Gareth? Go on, mate, get your nose pierced, get a Mohican, get some tattoos. You know, just when you go in the dressing room,
go against the grain, Southgate, isn't it?
Literally. Yeah, exactly, Errol. Yeah. And I just look at him and I just think to myself, Gareth, you know, stop being, and I always use a music analogy. I used to say, stop being Coldplay, mate. Stop being Take That. Start being Slipknot and Metallica. Start doing something unorthodox. And when I see, and you lads have already touched on my bugbear with Gareth, you know, Jordan Henderson is a great lad who's been a fantastic servant to Liverpool, right? And he's been
just before you go there, mate. Do you think he's been groomed for this particular role for a while, though, as to why he is that archetype of, as you say, prim and proper?
Yeah, it's a good point. I tell you what, Errol, it's a good point because if you like, and actually Steve Cooper's a little bit like that because he's been in the England system, if you know what I mean. And Gareth has gone through the you know, the different age groups. And actually, what Gareth's done in age group football is incredible. We're European champions at 21. We were world champions at 17. Our kids' teams and our ladies' teams, you know, that sort of FA structure that Gareth has done so much to sort of enhance. That's his legacy, probably more than what he's doing with England now. So I agree, mate. I do think he has been seen as like the coming man, if you like, inside the system. But it's this, and I hate to pick on names because that's not my way of doing things. And like Harry Maguire, I feel for that lad. I want to give him a hug and a cuddle and tell him, you know what, mate, you're a good lad. And I've got sympathy and empathy with him, right? And similarly with Jordan Henderson. Although if Jordan Henderson's trying to convince me he went to Saudi Arabia for social reasons and civilization reasons, he's not. He's gone there for the money. But I don't blame him because he's kind of at the end of his tether.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I wouldn't pick either of them. I mean, I watched last night. I watched the first half, and I thought Mark Gurhey on the quiet played really, really well.
Yeah.
You know, Lewis Dunk has come back after a concerted period, not in the England sit-up. And in that hostile atmosphere where they're booing each other's national anthems, Lewis Dunk just took it completely in his stride. There was a chest back to Ramsdale. There was a little cushion header. Nothing fazed him. You know what I mean? So I looked at that. I'm thinking, Tomori's playing, I believe, for Roma every week. Why doesn't he get a run? Levi Colwill is probably the best up-and-coming young defender in the country, although admittedly in a team that's trying to find its identity at Chelsea. And then I'm thinking, I mean, I read an article today where a guy had said, I've got the strategy now for Gareth Southgate to follow moving forward. Just pick Bellingham and Foden because they are world class. I watched Bellingham last night. He made 2, he scored 1, and a lad I know whose views I respect said to me, he's like the new Zidane. And I thought, yeah, physically, in terms of his speed with the ball, what he can do in a tight space. The guy has got everything. But do I think Gareth Southgate's the man to take it to the next level? I'm not so sure. And the problem is, right, I could say, well, there are 20 managers actually better than him, better than Gareth. Gareth Southgate will never manage a club side again. The 20 managers who are better than Gareth, in a way, and there's no disrespect to him, are the ones that manage from Arsenal, Arsenal to Wolverhampton Wanderers in that 20. Pep's not going to take it. Eddie Howe, who I think is the candidate, isn't going to take it. And if you say and this is where football has changed around. When I was a young lad, right, long time ago, England was the pinnacle. And it mattered, and clubs were almost like feeders into England.
I still think it is, though, mate. I
do, but I don't think, Errol. So many people now see England as an adjunct, and
fans. I think I completely hear what you're saying about the fans. I think fans up and down the country are a little bit disillusioned by England. They
disconnect.
There is a disconnect. They want England, as Dap said before, they want to feel excited by what England are doing. And if England played an exciting brand of football, I think you'd have a lot more people being very vocal and passionate. The fact that they play very conservative, negative, pragmatic football, it doesn't provoke those emotions to go over the top. So when there's something on the line, people will back it. If there's nothing on the line, people aren't really bothered. But player-wise, and I've said this from again, looking from a Liverpool perspective as a Scouser and the Trent situation. Born England. Why are you asked about? Why have you let this whole England not getting a call up get into your head to allow it to affect your club form? And it clearly did for a period. Whatever Southgate must have said or done to Trent, it knocked him. And after that, the level that Trent had been operating on, to get knocked by someone not saying by someone like Southgate, but by the England manager at that point in time, it did have a knock-on effect to his own form in club ability as well. And I used to think to myself, why are you, of all people, getting asked? I know you don't see England as that deep, but even for someone like Trent, who's a Scouser, black lad, plays for Liverpool, all the hallmarks to say why you wouldn't give 2 Fs about England, yet this lad clearly feels away when he's not selected because he knows he's good enough to play for this team. So I genuinely do believe, and that'll be the same.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
I think the players get it, Errol. I think the players get it.
They want to be the ones to make the history, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
If the golden generation would have done it, maybe this England generation maybe don't feel the pressure, so just play a little bit better, or they're just not that arsed anymore because someone's been there and done it. But because no one's been there and done it for donkeys and donkeys now, I think they all, in the back of their mind, want to be the first. If they can be part of that group, they know no matter what they do for their club. You could have someone like Gahey. He might never get that big move. He should, but he might never get that big move. If he's in the Euros and he wins a competition with England, to him all of a sudden now, whatever happens,
shop window.
Exactly.
Do you know what? Do you know what the thing is? I just feel as well that sometimes, if we look at Michael Owen in, I think, was that 2002, Michael Owen?
1998. That goal against Argentina.
98, thank you. 98, right? When players are young, they play with a certain element of no fear, right?
Yeah.
And that's when they're most exciting.
Yeah.
You got to look at Foden captained England schoolboys to winning the World Cup, right?
With Steve Cooper.
Yeah. That group of players there, right? Now look at Foden. You're not going to get the same. You're not going to get the same Foden anymore because some of that fun has been sucked out of it, right? Now, Bellingham, I think, is a very interesting one because there's already talks of could Bellingham be the next English player to win the Ballon d'Or, and it's very early to be saying it. But look, there's a tick in the box straight away. He played for the right football club, right? 100% that helps. It's a fact.
And the start he's made, Daps, as well.
The start he has made, we already knew. From his 16, 17 playing for England, the way he looked on the pitch alongside seasoned midfielders, and this guy's football IQ is levels above these, man, when he's 16, 17. Now he's He's playing with this freedom, this confidence. He's gone to Real Madrid. He's gone to the biggest club in the world, probably, right? He's gone to the club with possibly the most pressure in the world. Look, we say Arsenal fans put a lot of pressure on their players, and we'll say Man United have pressure. Listen, you go to the new camp and you're not Spanish and you've cost a lot of money. That is pressure that you do not know about, right? You don't land,
Ask Jonathan Woodgate.
bro, you don't get Bale did well at Real Madrid. They didn't like Bale, right? Because you really have to land. You don't, bro. There's no room for Ryanair EasyJet landings at that place. Yeah, you have to. The guy has just landed without Benzema. Gone, no problem. You need goals. I'll grab you them. Yeah, and now
that's the word, Errol.
It is. It's effortless. It's just it's the confidence for him to. I get it. I get why he turned down Liverpool. I get why he turned down City. I get why he said, because I was saying, I don't know. I think, he's learned his trade abroad, come back to England now, and then grow a bit more where you feel comfortable, and then go Real Madrid. Nah, forget that. My man backed himself and said, no, I'm ready to go now, right? He's gone. Now.
Maybe he looked at Hazard, though. Maybe he looked at Hazard and thought, if I go later on, and it doesn't hit the
he's 20.
That landing
he's 20.
About.
But here's the thing,
go
though.
While I'm at my best. Go while I'm physically,
maybe.
while I'm a physical specimen.
Backs himself.
Now,
But here's the thing. He could, at that club, with what he's doing there, with the players he's got round him, he could win the Champions League this season. They could go and win the league this season. Yeah. Very much so, I think they could.
He's almost that.
And then here's the thing. If he can put the final jewel in the crown of the Euros for England, that really puts him, puts him in standing for the Ballon d'Or at the age of 21, right? And look, Messi, Ronaldo, they're gone now. It's going to probably be Haaland will be up in there. We don't know. But Bellingham next year really could win the Ballon d'Or, right? I know it's early days, but how it's looking, you could look forward and go, I can see it. But will England win the Euros? Will Gareth Southgate help him to get that? I don't think he will. I don't think.
No, he's got to allow him freedom. And the thing about Bellingham, Daps, the points you make are brilliant. It's kind of like he's 20. I think he's almost at the moment, based on the evidence I've seen, he's almost like the complete footballer on it. And he's almost like the complete footballer off it because he comes across so well. His family in Birmingham. I mean, what a footballing family the Bellinghams have got. Jude is tearing up trees at, like you say, maybe the biggest footballing club in the world. His brother is on an upward trajectory playing for Sunderland's under-16s, who are, in their little pond are good. I mean, that's an amazing family. So he's obviously, I think his dad's a copper in Birmingham or something. So he's been brought up brilliantly. And he's a future England captain. So I see a pretty much complete, I mean, last night he was the most complete footballer in Hampden Park by a mile.
Yeah.
Right. But the thing is, for me, when I watch Jude, right, and this maybe Gareth Southgate isn't the right kind of personality, the right kind of effervescent, unorthodox personality to find that. There's another level to Jude that is still to be unlocked. Yeah. And that's I think he could be. I mean, I was brought up as a kid in the 60s by my granddad, my dad, telling me about Duncan Edwards at the Busby Babes, like 18, the complete player. My old man would say to me, England would have won the World Cup before 66 if Duncan had survived that awful crash. And he was 18 and he was in the England side and he was dominating, playing with the likes of Matthews and Finney and all these guys. Jude, I think, is the first English player probably of that ilk. I mean, Lampard got close, Gerrard got close. But this lad, I think, is just, his ceiling might be like a way out of our sight. You know what I'm saying? He's that exciting. And I just think Gareth isn't quite the guy. I tell you what.
It's not exciting enough.
No, I just look at him and I think, why don't you let you like you're in a psychopath out, Gareth, and just say to Jude, go on, F him up, you know what I mean? A lot of hand grenade in there. I mean, that makes me come across as some kind of lunatic, you're sitting here with me Bamba Gascoigne specs on, looking like some nerdy professor. But there's just a bit of me wishes maybe, much as I love Gareth, I'd love to sit next to him and say, tell you what, Gareth, nudge him in the ribs, say, hey, Gareth, go on, mate, do something naughty. Go on, do something that they don't expect. Because at the moment, what we're getting a predictable orthodoxy. I mean, England will probably The only thing is, right, you'll talk about Bobby Robson, right, in 1990. But the period leading up to that sort of World Cup that Gazza eventually took over, England were a disgrace.
Yeah, they were.
They were writing him off, you know what I mean, and all that business. And they just happened to get a siege mentality that helped them. England at the moment. I mean, I do think this is the best. Hit him with some
charges. 115 of them. That's a good way to.
I looked at the bench actually late on last night, and Maddison was sat there, and Harry Kane had come off, and Jude was sat there, and he was having a milkshake, and he was trying to work out how much he got left. And they look like a gang of lads who are all having fun and enjoying it. But I just wish that Gareth would say to him, go and play how you want. Matt Busby, right? Matt Busby, I read about Matt Busby with those great sides he had at Manchester United. And he'd say to George Best, he'd just say to you, George, lad, just go and enjoy your football. Don't play to a system. If he'd given George Best, say, 4 or 5 instructions, George would have forgotten them and just gone and played on his own. And it's the ability of a manager as a psychologist and some kind of empath to understand what is the best way to unlock certain individuals. Now, what works for Maddison doesn't necessarily work for Jude, might not necessarily work for Bukayo. His job is to understand it. I think he's making a good fist of it, but do I think he'll take us to the next level? No, I don't.
No, listen, I think that's facts, man. I really do. Henry, big up, bro. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. I redirected to you. What are you boys talking about? England?
Yeah,
we are, man. We're talking about England. Mate. We're talking about Southgate, and I wanted to answer this question actually because I got to answer it last night. Apparently, I didn't answer it. It's a good segue into you lads as well. So big up MP. I did remember you asking this last night. So Dan, you did not answer last night. Would you take Arsene as the next England manager?
No,
bit too long. Bit too long out the game, maybe.
Exactly. If you want a style of play, it'll give you that. Like 100%, it'll give you a style of play. It'll be attractive. It'll be attacking. But I don't know if I like him as England manager.
He's like 80 years of age. Like we can't have him. What we should do is
if we're going to go foreign, I'd go Ancelotti. If we're going to keep it in England, I'd go Eddie Howe. No, that'd be my answer.
There's a manager that's had a terrible start in Italy and is currently sitting 1 point out of 9, out of a possible 9. And I know a lot of people are going to turn their nose up to this because it's dinosaur football, but he will win us the Euros. You go straight to Roma and say, there's 20 million euros, give us Jose Mourinho.
Yeah, I mentioned last night about Jose, but no one wants him.
Yeah, I don't care, mate. Let me put a hypothetical out to all of you guys. If England won the Euros, but it meant we stunk it out every single game, no one would care.
I said this earlier. Yeah, spot on.
No one would give
I don't care whether they do or don't, but if you could bring back some dinner widgets as well after your little trip up the road, I'm happy. I'll take it. If England win shit, I'll celebrate like the next man. Do you know what I mean? Get me a
but that's Errol.
You meet down the pub, I will go in.
Errol,
I don't, bro. if we're not going to be in it to win it, I want us to play sexy football. Yeah, I don't care how we win.
But Errol, I'll be honest with you. That's what I said earlier, that we'll get through the group stages by playing shite football, right?
True.
And we'll be pissed off by the second game. After the second game, we'll be pissed off, yeah. But then we'll get through. Everyone will start playing is coming home. Some of us that don't overly back England will go and buy England shirts. Sports Direct will make some money off of that. Nice. Then
flags on the cars.
Yeah, flags will come out. It'll be a Saturday game. It's summer. It'll be hot. Yeah, we'll get behind them because, well, there's no Premier League football, right? And there's drink. We can go out to have a barbecue, get the mates round. But what I believe is that if the football is good, yeah, it won't matter that it's June. That could happen in November when it's cloudy. We'll get behind them more if the football is good. But because we've I had to go back to 96, right? Some guys, they won't know that at all. They've never had any excitement from England, right?
So then do you expect it then? Because
Southgate's not. If England want to get the country,
but before Pep came to City were starting to build quality.
We were exciting under Pellegrini, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm not saying you weren't, but you were building the blocks to where you eventually got to with Pep. But before that point, there was a point in time where you maybe a City or again Arsenal with Wenger, maybe a better reference for that big period of time for a good decade. Wenger played a certain style of football, and you knew what to expect. And a lot of people will criticise Arsenal, Dan, for not having a plan B. When your tick-attack doesn't work, where's your plan B? But you stuck to what you knew because that was the Arsenal way of approaching things. That was the way he's dealt with it. England...
Southgate wouldn't drink out of an orange... But
like England aren't going to now try to do what...
You'd have a milkshake like me.
From 08 to 12. They're not going to try and do the Spanish thing and now try and pass everybody off the park.
But I don't think it's even... No, but bro, what it is...
The players were not going to play that way.
But Errol, my whole thing is that at the moment, I think where England are is... Let's look at it as a marketing thing, right? England... It's hard to get people to back England at the moment, right? Southgate's not the manager to get anyone like to back you. If they want to get the fans back in England, I don't think winning a trophy is going to do that. I think playing good football is going to do that, and then a trophy will come anyway. Because look at the players we've got. If we start playing good football, it will come.
Who's got more chance of winning a trophy next 25 years? England or Spurs?
England. Sorry to say it, but I think
England.
I don't think they have.
England, because Spurs don't do that, mate.
Neither do England.
Can I abstain on that? Neither of them. You know, neither. I mean, the thing is, like, to answer Henry's original question, the end justifies the means. If it's like, you know, nails down a blackboard, pulling teeth, and we win. I mean,
how good would it be if I look at France or Germany in the final 1-0 and we absolutely...
Mate, whatever day that is, a bank holiday.
The thing is, mate, I look at if I take my club as an example, right? I remember the day we won the league in '78 at Coventry. We were awful. In Munich in 1979, when Trevor Francis headed us to a European Cup, we were awful. We were even worse the following year in Madrid and beat Hamburg to win the European Cup. And Forest won 3 trophies with 3 of the worst performances.
Stinking it out.
Yeah, the playoff final against Huddersfield 2 years ago was one of the greatest days of my life, clad around one of the worst football matches I've ever seen. And hell, every time Levi Colwill goes on the field to play for Chelsea, I go, bless him, there's the lad that put us in the Premier League. So I do think the end justifies the means. Do I think Mourinho's the man? No. Yeah, because I don't think these lads. I saw him at Tottenham, and I saw the Tottenham documentary.
If Joe had this England team, we're winning the Euros. I put my savings account on it, mate. He got Rome. He went to Roma, right? Roma hadn't won a European trophy ever. He turns up there. They win the Conference League. The year later, he gets to the Europa League final. You watch Jose again. You can clip this up. He will get to the final of the Europa League again. It will be Roma and Liverpool. He knows how to do it. He knows how to do it. We've got the most
fucking Levy. Yeah, you could have had a trophy if it wasn't for that bastard.
Yeah, exactly. Levy didn't want to play. If Jose would have won the League Cup, we'd have had to pay him something like 15 million quid. Yeah. We know Levy.
For me, that was the point.
That, is he?
Well, for me, that was the point where Tottenham fans should have. That was it. That's it. You've
in a one-off game against Man City.
Yeah, 100%.
Jose would have stunk. It would have been like 15% football, 1 shot on target, 1 goal. Remember when Celtic beat Barcelona? And they had about 96% of the ball. It'd be like that. But Jose... Yeah.
Henry, are you saying you didn't have faith in Ryan Mason to lift the trophy for you, bro? What are you saying?
Harry Winks. Harry Winks turning up and beating one of the greatest footballing teams I've ever seen. No chance. But this England team has got more quality other than France,
we've had for a long time. This is the best England team.
Portugal, do you reckon? France and Portugal, that's about it, other than England?
No, we got a better squad than Portugal.
More than Portugal.
Look at the players.
I'd say we've got a better squad than Portugal.
I would agree.
Look at the players we had on our bench against Scotland. By the way, what are we doing? Like, what the football we're playing? It's like getting a bus driver to drive a Formula 1 car. You don't. What is the point of that? It makes no logical sense whatsoever. The England team, right? Let me get up the bench we had. Some of the players.
But this is what we were saying before, though, Henry. If you keep it, a lot of what Southgate had done has come from where the FA have placed them into the system and the setup. So that kind of system and style that he's gone with, he's brought from the unders right through to the seniors, hoping that those players that have kind of graduated and come through. So he's got them playing similarly to how they played and done well, and he's just hoping it just translates.
Yeah, he's praying it works.
And the FA has a history, right, going back of never appointing anybody who's considered a maverick manager. I mean, the greatest manager of all time, certainly as far as I'm concerned, he went for the job. He went for the job in the 70s, and the FA basically just shat themselves. Yeah, Brian Clough. Yeah. They just shat themselves. Probably the only maverick England have ever had as their manager is probably Terry Venables, because Tell's a bit of a wide boy, but he got them playing. I think he was able to.
Capello turned up. Like a manager that's been on one major honours, and we were awful. Like the players we had on the bench against Scotland, like Maddison, Eze, Saka, Wilson, Chilwell, Colwill, Nketiah. Like these are players that are not even playing. Like if you put a squad together of England's bench, that would be challenging for top 4 in the Premier League. And we're sitting here and we're counter-attacking in group games against the USA. Like, it absolutely stinks.
I don't think, though, there are any really good international teams about, to be honest with you.
France.
There isn't a great. I think the world has moved. It's gone about turn from where international football was seen as the pinnacle. It's club football now. So if it's Arsenal or England, Dan's going to put Arsenal first. If it's City or England, Daps is going to put City first. Errol clearly has said.
I do disgusting things for a charity shield, let alone an FA Cup. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. I've seen us win 2 League Cups in my lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen us win. I've actually seen us. I saw England. I was alive when England won the World Cup, for Christ's sake. But the thing is, as a species now, football supporters in this country, it's club before country every time. And then what we do, an international break comes along or a tournament comes along, and then we just kind of click into this mode. Oh, blimey. Oh, yeah, now we're into England. And then a week, as soon as the tournament's over, we're back to thinking, I'm back to thinking, well, who are Forest signing, or have they signed 400 this week or whatever? You know what I mean? And so I just find it socially fascinating how times have changed. I mean, we're in a different era now. But, I mean, would Mourinho have done better with them? Maybe. Would the players have liked playing for him? I'm not so sure, because he's so abrasive. You know what I mean? The thing is, the dilemma is the England bunch, I think it's the best we've had for a long, long time, certainly in terms of pure talent. You read the names out, Henry, and they trip off the tongue, and you think, well, those are players. I'd love to have those players playing for my club. Do you know what I mean? And they're happy playing for him. But is he the guy? And is anybody then, brave enough to take an unorthodox step and put somebody else in? I mean, is Eddie Howe going to leave Newcastle for that job? No. You say to Jurgen Klopp, Jurgen, you're a great manager, go and do England. The Liverpool fans would be up in arms. Say to the City fans, we're going to take Pep off you to manage England. It's like if you say to any Forest fan, and Steve Cooper has been in the system, he won the Under-17s World Cup for England. He's been in the system, and I think he's likely to be asked at some point. But you say to any tricky across the board, no, keep your hands off Steve Cooper, because Forest means more than England does. So I honestly, if Southgate doesn't do it, and I think he's gone after the Euros, whatever happens, because I think either he'll prove not to be good enough and prove a lot of us right, or he'll say, you know what, I've had enough of all this grief I'm getting, I'm off. So I think he's gone anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see, man. We'll see, because I think the FA really like him, and I think he's got a balls up to go. Let's hope that he wins it, man. But that team should be at least winning. Errol, big up, man. I know you got to shoot. Thank you so much for jumping on, bruv. I'll see you next time. Take it easy.
As always. I'll catch you up on Tuesday. Safe, boys.
Nice one, bro. In a bit,
Errol. All the best, mate.
Daps, I know you've only got 10, man, so I'm going to wrap it up in 10. Listen, I've got to say this. Premier League is back, and I'm really happy. I can't lie. I'm really happy. I can't stand international breaks when they don't mean nothing. And for me, it's only about England when it's a tournament on, and during the season, it actually frustrates the hell out of me. So
we got an international break in less than a month as well.
Yeah. I know.
October 14th.
Absolutely mad. It really is mad.
Isn't there another one in November as well?
Yeah, we've got a few, man, to look forward to, man. So let's see what happens. Henry, you got Sheffield United at the weekend. That should be a win.
Oh, I don't want to say look, we're going to win comfortably, but we are going to win comfortably. I think that'll be 3-4-0. I think we'll. The thing is today that all the PR, or not all the PR, Richarlison's apparently going to be on the sidelines for a couple of weeks. He's had a load of personal stuff going on where apparently people have been contacting him trying to steal his money. In my opinion, it's probably just PR, because of the fact he hasn't scored a goal in about 5 years or something ridiculous like that. I think we'll dispatch them quite comfortably. I think we'll beat them 2 or 3-0. I think Son will get on a score sheet again. Well, I hope he does. He's in my fantasy team. And I think that'll be 13 points out of a possible 15. Where the way we started, Brentford away, then into United, then into Bournemouth away, and into Burnley away. I had that hiccup with Fulham. And then, Sheffield United at home. And then after that, we've got you boys in Liverpool. So, we've only got 16 games until the January transfer window, where if you and City both get through the third round of the League Cup, you could have up to 26. Just to put that into perspective. So you might have 10 more games than us.
You're going to win the league?
Oh, well, the title race is on, according to our fans. But no, of course we're not. I think, all jokes aside, if we don't get any injuries, which is never going to happen, but in a hypothetical world, if Basuma, Maddison, Van den Ven and Romero stay fit, then I think we can get top 5, top 6. Maybe if things go our way, top 4. But I see today that Lloris has been named in a 25-man squad. Eric Dyer is named in a 25-man squad. This club's a disgrace. How Hugo Lloris?
A couple of injuries, man. Couple of injuries, and I think you're back to oh dear, what are we going to do,
mate? That's what. Yeah. If we lose Maddison
back injury, I think centre back injury could wound you as well because.
Oh yeah, if Van der Ven goes, and Dyer's got to come in, or an 18-year-old Ashley Phillips. Apparently we just signed the best 16-year-old in the world the other day that no one knew his name, but because Man City were linked with him, automatically he's a Rolls Royce. Our fan base is a disgrace.
Would you rather have Ashley Phillips or Dyer though coming in? Would you rather just go there with Phillips?
He's not even. I think he's played 15 games for Blackburn, and I'd rather you Potts. Dyer's been here. If Dyer stays here until next August, we've got to give him a testimonial game. That's embarrassing. Like, all jokes aside, Forest have got better centre backs than Dyer. Sheffield United have probably got a better centre back than Dyer. You go through the whole Premier League. I think the only 2 teams that haven't are probably Luton and maybe Sheffield United that haven't got a better centre back than Dyer, and he's still here.
John Egan.
It's a worry.
It's laughable, mate.
No, it is laughable, man. I think you'll be fine. And then obviously the big test is Arsenal and Liverpool for Spurs. And I think we find where we're at. I've actually tipped you to go for a top 6 finish because you've got 1 game a week. You're out that Carabao Cup. Keep everyone fit. I think you've got a chance of it. I do think you need to sort the front 3 out. I know Son did madness against Burnley, but I've seen a lot of players do madness against Burnley. I think you need to do that.
We've got a new Gareth Bale coming in, haven't we? In 50 million quid for Brendan Johnson. Which,
all
jokes aside, I hope he does well. But if he doesn't, the fans are going to be on him like a trample on chips. They won't. Will be like 47 million quid. They will be on him like a rash instantly if he doesn't score against Sheffield United if he plays.
Yeah, man. It'll be.
He can come back to his Uncle Dave then.
Yeah. I'd rather I spend 50 million quid on a centre back.
Yeah, that's fair. It's about priorities. It's not about he's no good. It's about where we need to spend 50 million. I don't think you need to spend it on a winger. Personally, that's
we're
my
doing
opinion.
This Welsh Mafia stuff now. Have you seen this? Joe Roden, Ben Davis, Phillips, and like, who cares about what is this? Well, the PR coming out of this football club, mate.
So what is it?
Welsh Mafia. Ben Davis, Joe Roden.
It's the Merthyr Tydfil Mafia. That's what it is. Carmarthen, Monmouth.
Welsh Mafia.
I thought it was a mad signing. I can't lie, and it's not.
It's called the Taffia. It's the Taffia, isn't it?
Taffia. I thought it was a mad one, man. I thought it was a mad signing I think Brennan's a good lad. I don't think he's going to be unbelievable.
Broke my heart.
Yeah, I know you liked him a lot, Dave, but I don't think Tottenham needed a winger. I'm just saying that's all it is.
We've already got 8 of them. So
you've already got Manus Solomon. You got him for free. You've obviously
Brian
got
Hill that has barely played a game. Son, Richarlison. Was Perisic
needed the money for FFP though, so
it's mad. It's mad. That's I guess, seeing as you're a West Ham fan, like deep down, you're hoping for a draw at the weekend, bruv.
We've got no love. We've got no love. Us and West Ham are good still. I don't mind. I must admit, Lawless's chest recently has been quite amusing.
4 games in, mate.
Oh, that show where he started, he was rattled by Brighton and started going in on Brighton need to know who they are and that. I'm thinking, fuck me, give this guy fucking the Conference League trophy, and all of a sudden, fucking, mate. But now, you know what? But joking aside, the game is I want to say it's our first test, but it isn't, because I think Newcastle at home at that time of the season when we'd played kind of under 72 hours earlier against Seville in boiling hot heat. We had injuries at the time, and Newcastle were off the back of the Villa game where they'd smashed Villa up and everyone was saying Newcastle were going to be title contenders and whatever. I think that was a tough game, but we made it look quite easy. It was only 1-0, but at no point did we seem threatened with this. But this one, it's at their ground. You know, I said
an
to
athletic stadium.
I said to Arsenal last season, like that second half performance where they came, you can't. And I said to Matisse, no, who was it? It was to a Chelsea fan the other day, was saying Chelsea, you know, they expected to beat West Ham. I said, why do you expect to go to their first home game, right, under Moyes, in a team that is used to playing together and had a few very good additions to it that also play to the strengths of that team? Why, as Chelsea, did you expect to go there? You should never expect to go there. This is a hard game. Like season before
their
last,
style as well.
Their style, bro, their styles. I've seen it against us. You know, if we
look what they did at Brighton. That was a masterclass in counter-attacking.
They've gone. It's like last season they tried to give maybe Moyes some toys that he didn't really, that don't suit Moyes. And this year they've gone, do you know what? Go back to being Moyes and here's some Moyes toys that you will like. Like, no, James Ward-Prowse and some forwards. And there you go. Moyes loves it. He knows Ward-Prowse will just be spamming crosses in, and this is where City need to be
such
strong
a West
at the
Ham
back.
signing, wasn't it? Such a West Ham signing.
But we all knew it. The minute they got him, we were like, West Ham are good at set pieces. Now they've got James Ward-Prowse, right?
And then they score the next game from an Aguerd header.
It's just they have exactly what Moyes wants, and they're going to be up for it this weekend because, you know, look, we've got to, as content creators, we kind of represent our club. So we've got to think the chest that Lawless has is the chest that most of his fans are going to have at the moment, right? So they're going into this game at the weekend going, it's a battle for the top place. That's the way they're seeing it. This is their title challenge, right? So, you know, they're going to be up for it, and we've just got to turn up and do what we do and just be professional, ultimately.
Man.
Pep, I've just saw earlier, I think Pep will be back. So, obviously, he wasn't here for the last two games. And I think everyone's come through the international break well. There was a worry about Ake, but he came back and he played the next game, so that's fine. I think Stones might possibly be back in training now, so we're getting there to a nearly fully fit squad.
Do you think you're gonna walk it? I spoke to Hugh, LB, and Steve.
This season?
They think this season's gonna be easy for you guys.
90 plus points.
See, this is the thing. I don't do the points thing because for me, what Pep knows how to do is get more points or more goals than you. It's as simple as that. When people say you need to get this many points, not with City, because once we've won the league, what I want this season, very clear. People say, oh, do you think you could be invincible? Do you think you could concede this few goals? Do you think you could score this many goals? I don't care. I care about two things this season. I want the four-peat badly, right? I want the four-peat more than I wanted. I want the four-peat more than anything, because that's it. Them lot over there can't say fuck all once we've got that. It's done. Right? It is done, Because this is the thing. Steve summed it up. They for years, they had a banner about us. For years, they told us what we need to do. And now it's time for us to start setting some things.
Your treble is better than theirs, though. You know that, right?
No,
not even
but here's the thing. Before we won the treble, Terry, Mr. Fleurs, hold tight, Terry, was running this. He built a case study, and for weeks before we won the treble, he was building up this big case study on why Man United's treble, and all his shows were debates. And I went on and said, I don't care, bro. Like, my childhood, was shit because of your football club, right? But
tell me about it. Imagine being a Spurs fan coming up against Thierry Henry.
But
It's like a psychiatrist's couch session, isn't it?
All of this,
it's all coming out.
But to me, all of this, it's like what Big Man United are like trying to convince us that their treble's the same as ours. This is because I used to look at them. The most I celebrated as a kid was when Blackburn Rovers won the league. Yeah. That's the most I ever celebrated at Main Road on my life. I've got the programme. I remember it 3-2. We lost to Queen's Park Rangers, but Blackburn Rovers lifted the trophy. That was the most I celebrated at Main Road, right? Now, when I see them celebrating that they're a big club and trying to go, well, our treble's better than yours, I'm like, why are you? I don't care what you lot do. You lot do you. We're doing what we do.
They've fallen. I'll tell you why they've fallen, right? Let me tell you why they've fallen. Because they've been screaming at me all year having a better season is because they won a Carabao Cup and come third, and we only come second. That's how far they've fallen. And when Arsenal fans turn around to me and go, actually, we're Arsenal, Man United, we should be winning major honours. Oh yeah, actually, you're right. Yeah, maybe we shouldn't be celebrating that tin pot too loudly. Just unbelievable. It's just Man United who won triples in my time, who literally were winning rivals of us. And I used to come out of Highbury in mourning, finishing second to them. Now they're screaming at me because they had a better season than us because they come third and won a trophy and we didn't.
And this is what I always say.
This big fallen. Jesus.
When I was young, it was not about, my club's bigger than yours. It was about what you're winning, right? And since United have dropped off, it's now become, but we're the biggest club. I couldn't give a shit. I really couldn't. Do you think I drive past the gym, look at someone that comes out, tonk like that and go, fucking hell, he's amazing because he's bigger than me. I couldn't give a shit.
If Jay Cutler walked past me, I couldn't give a monkey.
I couldn't care. He's walking to his car and I'm driving past in a fucking
Christ, do I feel old.
Mac Green Merc, so I'm thinking, fuck you, bro. I don't care how big you are. Because and that's the same with them. Like, I don't care that they're a bigger club. I find it funny that, and when people go, but you're little City, you're small. Absolutely. And when people say, I don't care about City, I'm like, well, you fucking should be. Set your ambition higher. If you don't care about Manchester City, you're not aiming high enough, yeah? Because you should care. Because we're stopping every single team in this country from doing anything, right? So if you don't care about us,
change anytime soon.
Aim higher.
It's not changing anytime soon.
Love that. Listen, man, I know you got to shoot, bro, but it's always a pleasure, my friend.
It's always good to catch up with Dave as well, because I haven't spoke to you for a while.
Daps, I just made some notes while you were talking there, mate. The first one is, I've got here, Daps, next England manager, right? So I've got that there. I'm also thinking, son, and I'm going to call you son because I'm about 40 years older than you. I remember Bell, Lee, Summerby, Marsh, and that lot. You know what I mean? What great players they were.
Summerby.
You were talking about Lawless.
There you go. Look, he's got it. Look at
him.
I've got an amazing page in here. Yeah.
Have you, mate?
Got that with Colin Bell's.
Hold on one sec. Yeah, Nijinsky. You used to call him Nijinsky after the Derby winner, mate, because he was such a great mover, Colin Bell.
There's one page
Lawless's chest, as he had silicon implants. And then when he mentioned, he was talking about United as them over there, I was thinking my them over there in Notts County. How small. I shouldn't even be on this show. You've got Arsenal, Tottenham and Manchester City. I shouldn't even be here, really.
Yeah, but you've won the Champions League, Dave. Dave, you've won the Champions League. I haven't.
Yeah. I tell you what there, Henry. True. Them were the days, mate. There were Brontosauruses and Tyrannosaurus Rexes up and down the Trent, mate, in them days. You know what I mean? So,
but anyway, Dave, listen, I will see you in 9 days' time. Are you going?
Yeah, mate. I don't miss a game, mate.
Well.
Basically, what I do, I look after the old dears, make sure they're right, because they're both in their 80s and housebound. I go to the gym, right, because I'm trying to keep myself going. But I never miss a Forest match, and I love my club, and I love going to all these other grounds, mate. You know what I mean? Like last year, 6-0. One of the best nights of getting a good hiding I've ever had in my life. Forest fans, right, getting in like 10 minutes. How are we doing? 0-0. Oh, brilliant, we're in it. Next 10 minutes later, 3-0 down.
Yeah.
They take Haaland off second half. We're all stood there like yokels now.
Alfred's got two, didn't he? Alfred's got two.
Yeah, he did. Well. And he was brilliant that night. And what I'll always remember, Dax, is Pep decided to take Haaland off, and all our lot were going, oh, great. Haaland's going off. That's it. We're free of him. And it came over the tunnel and replacing Erling Haaland, number 22 or 23, Kevin De Bruyne. And we all went, everybody went, oh, shit. Right. And what happened at the end of that game, right? The end of that game, it was bizarre. I tell you something, unlike them over there for you, Taps, right? We were 6-0 down, and every single one of us stayed in the Etihad until the end.
Yeah.
United all went at half time, right? But what I remember as well, Haaland got the man of the match award. All the Forest fans were applauding. Oh yes, didn't he play well? What a marvellous performance!
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we got my lot, bless them. They ran around like blue arse flies, right, Forest? They tried their guts out, and City were like a gang of 90-year-olds playing walking football, and yet they were like universes in front of Forest. It was what this. I actually think, and this is where I love being back in the Premier League, because much as I love my own club, I love all the other clubs as well. I love it. I'm interested in what they do. I like what Tottenham do, I like what Arsenal do, what City do. So to go there that night, I remember coming back, and the old man said to me the next morning, he goes, that was a bit of a Tom King wanted son. I said, yeah, but Dad, I've just seen the best football team I've ever seen in my life, and I'm 59. I've never seen a team. It was like they were all like telepathically linked. They are a great team. I tell you what, where we are at the moment with Manchester City, they're one of those epoch teams that you get and you go back. So, you got City, then you go back to maybe Real Madrid,
Barcelona 2009, 2010 team.
I agree. Before that, in the 70s and 80s in this country, Liverpool, United in the 90s, and then Holland and Brazil internationally before that. City are now, I think, in that pantheon. And I wanted them to win the treble last year. It's an amazing treble because I wanted
to celebrate it as well, because my loan spell to Man City from time to time has been all right.
we giving you a guaranteed 3 points every season as well. So that's how
I'll tell you what, I bet you give it to hiding this year though, because it'll be none of this. 70% we're parting a bus, because we'll try and play out, and Arsenal, when they try to play against you, they don't.
Anyway, I really need to go, but Dave, message. I've got you. What have I got you on Instagram or Twitter?
You got me on WhatsApp, mate. Yeah,
I've got you on WhatsApp. And if we can meet. Oh yeah, we will. I'll be up there by about midday, so we'll catch up. 100%.
I've got a lady who drives me up there who's a former MMA fighter. Right, she's an amazing little.
That Ronda Rousey, I think.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, mate. Henry,
driving
I've
Miss
got my own bodyguard.
Stroke Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, she's legal. No, it's not Ronda Rousey. No.
You got your own bodyguard.
It's not Katie. You know what you say, mate?
So you got your own bodyguard?
I have to, mate. Yeah, what she does, she escorts me to the toilet and all that, because I'm that old now, mate. I've struggled with,
Does she hold it for you? Sorry. Anyway, listen.
She's in a good mood. Wearing up,
man. I'll shout you. I'll shout you, and we'll definitely meet up for a drink. So
yeah.
And thanks for having me on, Dan. Everyone, please smash a like. Love.
See you later, Dan.
Take care, mate.
Take care, man. Take care. Listen, Dave, see us out. You've got Burnley on Monday evening.
Lad.
And I think your City ground, that's 3 points, mate. I'm good at these predictions. Do you know what? Actually, I'm not, because last time I said you'd get a draw against Chelsea and you beat them. So I was wrong.
I'm actually half decent at the predictions. I reckon you'll win 2-1.
Do you know, the thing is, 2-1 Forest. A lot of people, what I've noticed, my baseline is we've only played 4 games. So anybody getting carried away, I think, is a fool. You know what I'm like, Potsy?
Yeah.
I always say every year, I want 17th because I just want to be a Premier League club again. That is my bottom line. And if I get too cocky or too carried away, it'll come back and hit me in the face. What I've noticed is that a lot of people, podcasts and YouTube channels and all that, they are reevaluating Forest, and I'm wary of it. So people who were saying we'd be 17th are now saying 14th, 13th, 12th, maybe based on the win at Chelsea, maybe based on the better performances away from home. We've only played 1 home game yet, which actually was our worst performance against Blades.
Did Johnson play against Chelsea?
No, he didn't, Henry. No. Because I tell you for why, Henry. He reported for training on the Friday morning at the Doughty Centre, and about 45 minutes Brennan was filmed walking up Gresham Close into the training centre. About 45 minutes later, his mum and dad and him and his 2 sisters and his best mate were picked up in a people carrier, and they went straight down then to London for medical, to meet Ange, to meet everybody else.
Do you rate him as a player?
Yes, I do. But the thing is, Henry, I'm an old sentimentalist, and I'm emotionally attached to him because I've seen his pretty meteoric rise. Do I think he's the complete player?
All the way from the academy upwards.
Yeah. The thing is, mate, right, a few years ago, somebody who you know well was our manager, and he basically came out and said, no, I don't think Brennan Johnson's good enough for that. That was Chris Hughton, right? And then what he did, he went and, we were just then told by Hughton, who proved to be one of the worst managers we've ever had, again, a nice guy, but not good enough, that Brennan Johnson wasn't fit for purpose. He went on loan to Lincoln. I think he scored 20 and he made a host of assists. He came back. Hughton was again iffy about him. As soon as Steve Cooper came in, I tell you what, The week before Steve Cooper got the job, we went to Huddersfield under Stephen Reid and Warren Joyce as caretakers. They played 3 at the back and they played Brennan as a wide right, and he tore Huddersfield a new one. And we were like, wow, this is what the kid can really do. What, burning pace. You know what I mean? And then he continued to do it throughout the promotion season. I thought then there'd be a serious plateau going into a much tougher league, which is, this is the best league in the world that we're playing in. And he had a little bit of a quiet start, but then he kind of found his feet.
He did all right towards the back end of last season, didn't he?
He did. I think what Tottenham are buying is potential. The issue then is whether Tottenham are patient enough, not so much the management. But
we will be. We gave Eric Lamela 8 years and he was useless.
I do think that I think you've got yourself a good player. It may take some time. I think it might be a while before you see the best of him. As far as I'm concerned, I've lost a nephew. I love the lad because he joined the club at 8. He lives in West Bridgeford, which is where the City Ground is. He is truly one of our own. But the way I look at it is it was good business for everybody.
You got a big fee for him. He gets his move. I don't want to say to a big club because I think Forest have probably got more. You've won European trophies and we haven't won anything in so long.
But your reach, Henry, is much bigger than ours at the moment. Go back 40 years, maybe not so much. But Tottenham is a huge institution. We're not as big as that. So I think, the money that we got in, I don't know if you remember on transfer deadline night, Brennan was announced officially at something like 2 minutes to 11.
Didn't you get Sangara as well in that same night?
As Ibrahim Sangari was walking through the door at the City Ground at the same time. By the way.
If you've seen him, he's going to be.
I saw him score for the Ivory Coast at the weekend. Yeah, I saw him score, and I watched the highlights of the games against Rangers, and I was like really impressed. And then my first thought, my two thoughts was like, why is he giving up Eindhoven to come to us? Why is he not one of the big 6? So I think we've got a coup on our hands getting him. But I just think that FFP, Brennan's. To be honest with you, the things I'm sort of hearing now is that Forest knew Brennan was going at the start of the window. I think that's why Anthony Elanga was bought. And Anthony Elanga has already shown why I think he
did well against Arsenal, didn't he? He come on and he did. Was it Partey right back then?
Yeah. Yeah. And he had Saka chasing him for the goal. Saka couldn't get near him. So I think what I'm seeing with us is I'm seeing that we're doing that kind of, sort of forward planning, that plan B, plan C for the organisation of the club that has made Brighton so good, has made Brentford so good, Villa to a certain extent.
Even Fulham as well.
Even Fulham, absolutely, mate. So I think you've got yourselves a good player. I think I like Ange. I know he's not everybody's cup of tea at Tottenham, but I like him. I think he's a good guy. And I think that in the fullness of time, Brennan will be a real asset.
Apparently, Postecoglou they said, it come out like recently that in the second week of the transfer, as his second week of the job in July, they offered we got the chance to sign Johnson, and he went, "Yeah, I'll take him." He's all about pace, Postecoglou.
Yeah,
and I think we got Udogie, Porro on fullbacks, both quick.
Yeah,
we got Son and Johnson, and you got Maddison and Basuma that are pretty nippy. And then you got Van der Ven and Romero that are pretty nippy.
It's a good 11 again, Henry. Now it's a good 11 again. You just got the squad depth.
I've liked what I've seen of Tottenham this year. I mean, me and my old man sit and watch football together. And, I mean, the old boy's like 86. He used to be on the Forest Scout staff, and we like Ange Postecoglou. And we like. My old man said to me the other week, like I think it was after the game against United. Was it United they beat?
2-0, second game of the season, first home game.
And we just thought, like, my old man said to me, that lad Bissouma, how good was he? And I was like, he was fantastic. He's Maddison looks like he's having fun. They look Tottenham now for the first time in a while, Henry, and I'm outside of the building, if you like. They're likeable to me. I look forward to watching Tottenham play. I think they've got a gang of likeable. I like Kulusevski.
Our James Maddison doesn't play in that 10 role for England. England should have Maddison, Bellingham and Rice, Saka, Foden and Kane with a back four, Tomori, Stones, Walker and Chilwell with whoever goes in goal. There's no reason you can't win the Euros. But
I agree with that.
That's the team I would pick, Henry.
And all these other. I mean, what he done with Eddie
Nketiah and Henderson and all that.
It's great. What he done with Eddie Nketiah? He's called him up.
But on the game,
he's called Nketiah up, and he's not even played a minute.
No, I mean, on the subject of Monday night though, Dan, I think it's a much harder game than a lot of people are suggesting.
No, you'll beat them, Dave. You'll beat them.
We should do. But what worries me is, like I say, people are starting to say, "Oh, Forest will be all right. They'll be safe this year. There'll be in no relegation trouble." And to me, that's offering fate too much temptation. Do you know what I'm saying? I think on balance, looking at it in a clinical sense, Forest should win. Home advantage, Monday night under the light, Sky.
You're going to get.
I tell you why I think Forest to win, because Burnley won the Carabao game. Now, my view was that they're kind of the two. Some people saying they're not linked, but to me, if Forest had won the Carabao, I'd kind of think to myself, Burnley will come wanting revenge. But I just think we'll win. I mean, I think of the new ones, Sangari will definitely play. He has to. He spent more money than we've ever spent on the
forward as well, didn't you? Who's the forward you got?
Divock Origi used to play for Liverpool.
Yeah, he'll get you 6 to 8 goals comfortably.
Yeah. So I like to think that this year, I mean, I said at the start of the season, 17th will do me, which it will, because then I go back to Brighton. Brighton was 16th, 17th, 15th.
I think there's more than 3 teams. I don't think you're the 4th worst team in the league. I really don't.
No.
I really don't.
No.
I don't have Forest going down. I told you that. I didn't have him last season. I don't have him this season. I think you'll win Monday night. I understand why you think it's tough, because Company does get him playing. But personally, I think that you will be fine. And I think the Forest have just got too much quality now. I think you've had a great window. I think you've had a brilliant window, in fact. And to get 50 million for Brennan, I know you loved him, but 50 million for Brennan Johnson, that's unbelievable.
No, it's good business, Dan. Very good business.
Unbelievable bit of business, man. Let's just answer his question before we close. Jake's put it a few times. Says to Dan, Dave, and Henry, would you take Serena as the next England manager? I'll answer that. No, I would not. Honestly, at the moment, I support Arsenal and England. And if things don't work out for Southgate and Arteta, I want someone proven at both my clubs. I want a kind of elite level manager. Carlo Ancelotti, Diego Simeone, those kind of names. I don't want.
It just makes sense, mate.
Eddie Howe. You know what I mean? Eddie Howe is the only other one at England I'd have, but that's it.
It can't be. It can't be Eddie Howe. If he leaves Newcastle for the job, he's got something wrong with his head.
He's not going to.
Graham Potter,
Yeah, that's the one.
Well, Graham Potter would be. People now think he's a rubbish manager. Like he's not a rubbish manager. And he would do a better job than Southgate, in my opinion.
100%.
Yet to be proven. But, I would rather just, if we're not going to be one of those guys, I'd rather go and get an elite manager that's been there and got a CV that says I can get this team across the line. Because there's someone should be able to, in my opinion. We're going to leave it there. People, it's been a legend, as always. Henry, how can people follow you, my bro?
Yeah, it's just anyone wants to see. It's Emery Wright TV. We're nearly at 16.5k now. So if anyone wants to jump over and subscribe, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks for having me on again, mate. Always a pleasure.
No, come on, always, bro. Always absolute pleasure having you on. If you do want to go follow Dave, then make sure you do over at Dave Asprey on Twitter. Make sure you do that. You'll regularly see him on the show and on probably Door's channel, to be fair, normally. So if you do want to go over there and speak to Door and Dave, then make sure you do that. Oh, and Sava's channel, of course, on Football Heritage TV as well. So make sure you go do that, people. We're 48 away from 12k, so please hit the like and subscribe, and then we'll hit the big 12k tonight, hopefully. So make sure you do that. If you do want to come follow over at 10 o'clock on Lee Judges TV, me and Lee will be talking a Q&A for the weekend and all of the weekend's games. So make sure that you do that. Until then, take it easy, and we'll see you next time. We're out of here. Up the Arsenal. Laters.
You Reds.